Hi Noah, how are you? I thought I'd make a quick video showing the prints I made of the box. First, love the design. Honestly, no complaints with the design at all, with one possible exception, but I think it's just a mistake. I went looking for a top that was just a straight up top, and the one that said top flat actually had three holes, just like the one that said top holes. So I went into Fusion 360. I backed out the timeline to when you made the holes. Before you made the holes, I duplicated the top, and then I played forward the timeline and renamed it to top no holes. Now, that may mean that this top doesn't have all of the later changes you made. I didn't see any. There's probably a better way to do that. We could just re-extrude the holes so that we keep any changes you made. And I'll show you why I think that might be necessary in a minute. As far as the actual parts went, they printed really nicely. I'll show you basically this is on ABS, this is in PLA. Had a little bit of a stringy thing here. I do have two problems with it, but I think this is a settings issue, and I think it might just be a matter of me needing to know what settings you used. So first, just zooming in here for a second, you'll see that the bottom here wasn't quite level. So you get some texture on the bottom that this should be smushed and increased. And I think I can do that just by increasing the first layer percentage. I think I have it at 110%. I don't have the layer height at less than like half height, but I could increase the amount of filament on the first layer. Also, could just do a better job of leveling. That's me. That's not you. So the other problems that I have are, if you'll notice, let me get a pen here. So if you'll notice right here inside of this thin wall, I don't know how close I can get in here. Probably pretty close. Let's see. Yeah, that's pretty good. So you'll see that there's a gap here. And I have the setting on telling it to fill if it's less than a certain amount. But I know you like using perimeters to fill this rather than doing the zigzag fill. So I was wondering what setting I would change to actually have this fill with perimeters, because it's it's a 0.4 millimeter extruder. I could increase the extrusion percentage, or I need this width to be a multiple of 0.4, which I think is you. I think that's actually in the design. So it might be that you printed this with a different size nozzle, or it may be that there's a setting in Fusion 360 that I don't know that will let that add another perimeter. I tried increasing the number of perimeter walls to 2 to 3 to 4. It didn't matter. There's not enough space in there for one more wall. I tried increasing the overlap to 20%. I didn't want to go higher than that because I don't know what the side effects of that setting are. So this is a problem, and it makes this fairly flexible, overly flexible. I think that's part of my problem right here with this tab too, is that it's exceptionally flexible, which leads to the second problem that I have. By the way, again, I love the design. This is just a printing problem. I printed the one that has the base, the battery case that has the tabs on it, which is great. It's also got a little area for the switch over here. Again, these have the same problem where they're hollow. I know I could turn on the zigzag fill, but I don't think that's what you intended. So if it is, that's an easy answer. Just tell me and I'll turn it on. So the second problem is that when I insert this, when I insert the actual feather, you'll see that the tabs aren't latching. They're not actually coming across and snapping. to hold this down. So I don't know if that is a separate problem, if the tabs aren't tall enough. It looks like the side is all the way down here. It's just that it's almost like the tabs don't come up high enough to snap in. So I love the idea of that tab, but it's not actually snapping. It's not snapping on right now. So if there's something I'm missing there, let me know. I haven't really played too much with the feathers to see how they fit, other than just to hold them in place. I have one right here I can show you, but it will. There you go. It will. I have no doubt that this will work. Yeah. So if those are on the circles, let's see here. Yeah. See, yeah, I'm pretty sure those line up pretty well. I like the slots like we discussed. This lines up pretty well here. And with screws in, I'm sure it would line up just fine. So that's great. There's plenty of room on the sides for wires that screw in from the side here. If we're doing that approach that took the screw terminals on the side, so I'm happy with this. And the wires coming out the back. So this all looks like it would work really well. This has the same problem with the walls not being filled in, and it also has the same problem with it not snapping down. So here's the top. The top is not so this has got stacking headers on it, and this doesn't fit on here, which is interesting, but it definitely does not fit. So even without, take out the base. Now you'll notice that this is a horrible finish, and in fact I had to peel off a layer of this because my bed was so unlevel that this actually was in the back of the bed when I printed all three at the same time, which was a mistake. And this one actually did not have enough adhesion to succeed. But the underside of it is fine, right? So this side here is ugly, but this side is fine. And when I try to mate these two together, the feather headers are in the way. If I get rid of the feather, it does kind of fit in place, but the tabs do not actually hold it in place, so it'll just kind of fall off there. So these again I think are potentially just setting issues. I printed it at 0.2 millimeters. I guess I can walk you through the settings that I used. Let me switch. Let's see. I don't know if I can capture that screen or not. Yeah, look at that. I can. Okay. So here are the settings that I have in place for this. I've got I started with the PLA settings, and so then I've got in my left extruder 0.4 nozzle diameter, 1 for my extrusion multiplier. I took the automatic extrusion width. Retraction's 1.4. That might be a little high, but I don't think that's causing any issues here. For the layer, I have 5 bottom layers. That just gets rid of it was going to put in like 2 honeycomb layers, and I'm just like, well, just print it solid. It currently has 2 perimeter shells. I tried this at 4. It didn't make any difference at all on whether it filled in that area. And then the top solid layers. The first layer height is 40%, which is very squished, 125 on the layer width. And still we had that issue with the unlevel bed. It's very slow first speed. I do have a brim of 5 outlines. Infill was 20%. I turned on supports, it didn't generate any. And it's 60 degree bed temperature, 230 on the left extruder. Now that's set there. I push up to 240 on a regular basis, but I don't think that's causing any of my issues here. Maybe it would have helped with the first layer, but I think that's really a matter of just leveling the bed better. Nothing else here is really that important. I'll go through it in case you want to stop it and pause. This is probably so the printing speed is at 60 millimeters per second, and these are all standard. This is the thing. It says use only perimeters for thin walls. I tried doing this with 20 and it came out the same. It didn't actually do it. It either filled in with zigzags, which I don't think is what you intended here, or it didn't fill at all. It left them thin. So I don't like them thin. I can try them again with this at whatever settings you're using. Let me know, and I'll just adjust. So this is what I'm printing right now. I'm printing this with the same settings, just to see if you made any changes that might have happened after you cut the holes. So I'll see if this one snaps together any better, and I'll let you know, because I don't want it to be that I undid this and that caused your problem. Just to show kind of what I did, when I got there, I found this as the flat top, but that actually has room for the holes. Even though if you look, there is another one that has a top with buttons, which has one button, and buttons, which has multiple buttons. And it looks like somehow the flat one was lost in that effort, and that there's no flat one that had no holes cut out of it. So what I did was I rolled this back. I just went back as far as I needed to not have the holes cut. Somewhere in here, I did it one at a time by going forward, forward, forward. Yeah, so right here around, oh crap, sorry, hold on a sec. Stupid thing. Sorry, it's going to insist on playing all the way through. Hold on. Oh, that's irritating. Sorry about this. It's insisting that I let it play out. There's no stop button here, which might be something to complain about to Autodesk. I like the tabs. I like the general design a lot. I have absolutely no complaints about. If this had printed the way that it looks on Infusion 360, I would be very happy with this model. I can't believe there's not a cancel button for the play button. Are we stopped? Yeah. So somewhere right in here where I extruded this. All right, so here's the last step before they extrude these holes, or these pads. So I basically backed up to this point, and I went ahead and made a copy and paste to make a new one, which I then named. You'll see here I named under the enclosure. There's now a body named Top No Holes. And so then if you switch all the way to the front, you'll see that the top flat still has holes in it, because I didn't want to mess things up. I'm sure you've referenced that to others. And then the top with no holes is this one. So any changes you made to that aren't reflected in this, I don't believe. into this paste. You know better than I would. Anyways, I'll let you know how the one with the holes in it, this one, top flat, I'll let you know how this one prints and if it snaps in any better. But in the meantime, it is not quite right the way that I printed it. Right? So this does not snap on here. This is too flexible because it is not filled. And then this does not, this does not stay on here. And this one doesn't have enough room for the feather with headers, with the stacking headers. And it's so close, right? I mean, you're talking about a millimeter that it needs to clear, that I think it probably should. Because people are going to have stacking headers on their feathers, even if they're not currently using them. They're going to have ones that they'd put the headers onto, and they should just fit in here. Now, how critical is that? I don't know. But it's certainly critical that we find you. I mean, this may just be you tell me what setting to use, and if the answer is that the setting has to be the one that does the zigzags to fill in here, I'm okay with that. I just remember you saying you didn't like it, so I was assuming that these were done in a way that didn't require that. So let me know on that. And then I think the reason that this doesn't snap on here really is that these are not tall enough. They do not seem tall enough. I can't like even push them over manually to get them to, I mean, that's not going to get any tighter, and there's not enough there to catch. So if yours did catch, please let me know what I did wrong. Obviously, I used the base with the tabs. I used the feather without the tabs. And then I used the top that I created from the one that you had added holes to. Okay? I'll let you know if the other one snaps on any better. Thanks for all your help on this, and I hope this is useful. Bye.